Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You are on the sidelines with the sideline guys. And once again, I am joined by the Podfather himself, my brother in arms, the reason why we are here on a daily, sometimes even multi-daily basis. My guy, Derrick, how's it going, brother?
All is well, bro. Glad to be back. Glad to be back. We had to take a little break, personal reasons, but we are back. So, just glad to be back with you, bro.
Yes, sir. Back and better than ever. We've got a whole bunch of things to talk about in the NFL world. And we'll certainly get into that in a second. But it's only right we remind the people where they can find us. So why don't you tell the people off the top where they can find you, Derek?
Yes, sir. You can follow me at Derrick_OTS. That's DERRICK. Black way to spell it.
You heard them, man. Make sure you get it right. You can find me on Twitter as well as TikTok on Negron MMA, as well as Instagram on Chris Negron _. But most importantly, make sure you're following the brand at OTS Media Co. on all social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. And before we move on any further, ladies and gentlemen, this week's episode is sponsored by the Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. No psychedelics in there, but it's got 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens: lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi, turkey tail, all kind of goodness coming at you in a great digestible form. So make sure you use the code, no pause. Make sure you use the code OTS at eatshroombar.com. That is code OTS at checkout to get 30% off of your first order of protein bars. Support the show. Most importantly, support your brain, right? Get some awesome nutrients to keep you running throughout the day and give you that extra boost you need to get through all of your daily tribulations. But with all of the pleasantries out of the way, Derek, NFL free agency is a humming, baby. And we're back with headlines. So right off the top, man, I got to ask you, let's start with our teams, right? It's only right that we begin at the place that hits home the closest. And most importantly, let's start with the fucking champs, ladies and gentlemen. How are you feeling about the Eagles' current situation? Obviously, right now, we haven't gotten a lot of positivity back just yet. But I'm not one of the extreme negative Nancy's out here. How are you feeling right now about the shape of the Philadelphia Eagles after the first couple days of free agency?
Hey, man, we knew the guys that left. Majority of outside of CJ Gardner-Johnson, everybody else we knew were likely going to be gone. Adam Schefter just reported yesterday that they are, I think, with the compensatory picks in play, the Eagles now have 20 picks between the next 2 years to play with. So that just shows you that they are in line to do something big as well. Howie mentioned, I think at the parade, it's either at the parade or after the parade, that free agency was going to look a little different for us this year. We knew a lot of guys are going to get the big paydays, and you can't pay all of them. Which is part reason why I said I didn't think that Myles Garrett was going to be in Philadelphia. Like, of course, you'd want him there, but as a fan, you'd want him there. But I didn't see him leaving Cleveland. I mean, I didn't see him coming to Philadelphia. I should say that. But I'm okay with what we've done so far, man. Like, so far, what we signed Joshua Uche today or yesterday. Adoree Jackson today, AJ Dillon, Harrison Bryant. We traded for Dorian Thompson Robinson and traded for Kenyon Green. The re-signing Zach Bond, that was a must.
Mhm.
Extending Saquon was a must. But moving on from Kenny Pickett, CJ Gardner Johnson, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Kenneth Gainwell, it kind of, like those you kind of knew were going to end up being the case. So we're good. Like,
Mhm.
we're the champions. I
Right.
think it's some of the guys are going to go. Milton Williams,
Mhm.
Josh Sweat. Those are the guys. Like, we love them. One of my favorite things about Josh Sweat was his sack celebration too. So like not being able to see that anymore sucks. But like you already know who you have there. I didn't expect a monster offseason for us in terms of free agency moves or signings. I didn't expect those type of things going into the offseason. So I really, a lot of this, the only thing that shocked me was CJ Gardner Johnson being traded. And then when you go to see, oh, he was going to be due a big payday, the likelihood of them extending him out was going to end up messing them paying up Jalen Carter down the line, So it kind of made sense as to why they just went ahead and just moved on from him. It's fine. Love him. But it is what it is. Justin
Mhm.
Simpson Simmons is a free agent. That's the one I'm hoping we're able to go get in place for him because you have Sidney Brown and forgot the other guy's name, the other
Mhm.
safety that's there that are going to be battling for that specific position. But yeah, I mean our defense still looks great. Reed Blankenship and Zach Bond out there, and like Quinyon Mitchell, we're good. Our
Mhm.
secondary is good. As long
Yeah.
as Avante Maddox don't come back, I'm good, bro. Like, no-
That's all I need.
yeah, we're good. I'm fine. Look, there's still a lot of moves to be made. Like,
Mhm.
we're only into what, day 4 of free agency. You never know how he is a monster. So I still feel like there's going to be one or two more moves that he makes between now and the draft,
Mhm.
or during the draft that I think is going to be able to shape up a little bit more. But I think really the only thing you're looking for is depth at
Mhm.
specific positions. Um, I'm
Yeah.
kind of I'm 50-50 with the feeling that Brandon Graham is coming back.
Mhm.
I feel like he's going to come back because he ended up re-tearing his triceps in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if you heard that.
No, I didn't.
He re-tore his during the Super Bowl, and then Nolan Smith tore his during the Super Bowl as well.
Mhm.
So, um, you know, I mean, they'll be fine by the beginning of the season. So anyway, so we're not worried about that. But yeah, I mean, look,
Mhm.
I'm rambling. Sorry, but
No,
I
you're
think
good.
it's perfectly fine, man. I think we're in a good position.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say quickly, I feel like the biggest net loss there was Milton, and then you go and make that trade. Obviously, you hate to lose that guy in the secondary as well, but you fill that hole immediately, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, you're putting yourself in a good spot regardless. And I would say already addressing those things. And obviously, you lose some guys, but you're also putting guys that have proven themselves as young players in a position to expand their roles. I think that's
yeah,
a great position to be in as a franchise. And you could argue it's probably the biggest net positive, right? That's
yeah,
not something
yeah,
that's going to come up on the free agency tracker. But
yeah. And that's
giving
the
those
thing, like,
guys that room to play is important.
yeah, that's the thing too. It's more of a youth movement. You want to, because the mistake that we made after um the first Super Bowl 2017 was re-signing everybody. And I believe Howie came out and talked about that being like making those heart decisions instead of making the right decisions. Making the right decisions sometimes means letting certain people go. Because you see certain guys and you know who those guys are that are developed or developing, and you want to continue their development. And I'm perfectly fine with that because I think after that 17 championship, we took a decline because we kept guys around longer than we should have. Fletcher Cox should not have stayed. Like, he shouldn't have been there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I believe Jason Peters stayed around for another year or two after the Super Bowl. Guys should not have, some guys should not have been there. That's bottom line. So getting ahead of that a little bit and making sure you're going with the youth movement so you can pay guys down the line that need to be paid. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
You know, it's a random shout. I would love to live in a world where we see Keely Ringo get some key minutes with all those guys leaving. But
Well, he is. Right now, he's in the lead for that other position on because Isaiah Rogers, that's another guy that left.
mhm,
So Keely will be in line for that lead spot on the opposite side of Quinyon. So we'll see how it goes.
mhm.
We'll see how it goes. I think he'll be able to pick
Yeah, I
up
think
some.
AJ Dillon's a great pickup too. So yeah, it's all positivity, right? You lose
Yeah,
some big names, which
yeah,
is going to be the headline. I feel like everyone's already hitting the panic button for you guys, but it's
bro.
okay. We're not as reactionary as these other shows, right?
That's the wildest part too. Is like you have a lot of Eagles fans that I've seen that have been like freaking out over the last 2 days. I'm like, y'all would think we didn't even win the Super Bowl. You think we would be? We've been going 30 plus years without a Super Bowl or without a championship appearance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you would think we were the Cowboys the way a lot of people are acting up right now. It's fine. Calm down, relax.
Yeah, we're all gonna be fine, and
Yeah,
it's only right we pivot to my Ravens on that same note because I think we're gonna be fine as well, right?
sure.
Haven't lost too many big names. Obviously, we let go of Marcus Williams, Arthur Mallette, but obviously the biggest name you could argue that we've spoken about so far. I lied. About 5 years ago, this would have been the biggest name. My God, D Hop coming to the Ravens. I'm excited for this one just because I think it's going to free up Zay Flowers to be even more dynamic in this offense.
Yeah.
I didn't really like, if I'm being honest, I don't know how to parse this out whenever it comes to Kansas City receivers, right? Because I feel like every receiver that goes here, it's very unique. The ones that end up thriving in this system, I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a big brain system, right? But we've
Mm-mm.
seen a lot of guys play for the Chiefs and not be able to produce, and then play for other teams and play well, and then the inverse, right, where guys play extremely well with the Chiefs and then go somewhere else and don't do well. So I don't know what the maybe that room is a weird place to look at in a vacuum, but I wasn't too excited of how he looked with Pat Mahomes. Obviously, the focus became towards Xavier Worthy, but I'm hoping that there's still a lot to be left out there on the field for us. Obviously, with how exciting everything Derrick Henry was able to do, it's easy to look at these names and be like, hey, I'm expecting them to produce. But I'm being more realistic with this one. I feel like this is more of in the same vein of the OBJ signing. Let's have a big target out there so that everyone's eyes are going down there. But the
Mhm.
reality of our offense, I think, isn't going to be fully centered around them, but can't hurt to have another weapon for sure.
Yeah, because he'd be like what wide receiver 3 in your team.
Mhm.
You can't be mad at that.
Yeah, you could argue two, but yeah, I
You
think I
could,
think
but I
Bateman. I
wouldn't.
think Bateman deserves the nod. I agree with that too. So
Yeah.
it's just different types too, right? You love to have that big body with the two smaller guys, but more shifty guys on in those outside inner spots too. So I'm excited for this signing, and then obviously re-signing the big name that we needed to get, Ronnie Stanley. I'm happy with that. A little expensive, if I'm being honest,
Mhm.
but those transpositions always tend to be. So it is what it is. I think a big signing as well. I feel so bad because I'm forgetting his name. But he's Ardarius Washington, one of my favorite players on our team. Dude's an absolute dog and got it out the mud, earned every cent on that contract. So shout out to him. But yeah, as far as the Ravens, I'm really most excited for the draft. I think just like you and the situation you guys are in, I don't think we're going to be looking to add too many crazy big names in free agency. I think we're gonna just play it cool, see what develops, probably sign guys here or there. But most certainly, I got my eye towards the draft and been really diving into the young players as far as what we need to look forward to for the NFL draft. So tipping my hat a little. We got some shows coming your way
Yes,
with a
sir.
lot of NFL draft coverage. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're locked in at OTS Media Co so that you never miss all the dope stuff we got coming your way. But it's only right, Derrick, that we get into just some of the bigger moves in general, right? So we start in the quarterback world. The biggest domino that fell so far, we got Sam Darnold signing with the Seattle Seahawks and obviously trading Geno Smith to the Raiders. So this is a when I looked at the way all these dominoes fell, I'm like, man, this is a Raiders move, right? Like if there ever is a Raiders move, is let's get someone who's at the tail end, right? But has this potential, right? We got the glimmer of the potential. But I hope, honestly, I love Geno Smith. I think he's going to ball out, especially with the weapons they have over there in Vegas. But I hope they're drafting a young quarterback to learn under Geno
Yes.
Smith. Because
Yes.
Lord, we don't got too many more years of this left in the tank, in my opinion. But the real star here, obviously, is Sam Darnold getting the biggest bag so far of the offseason for the QBs. I don't think he deserves it, Derrick. Am I fucking wrong? I don't
You're
think this
not,
is.
because I mean, based off that last game, it looked like he it looked like he wasn't getting anything north of 100. Like, it looked like he was like probably gonna get like a 2 years, 60, 70, somewhere in that range. I was shocked when I saw 3 year 100. So, um, yeah, you're not wrong here, man. That seemed a little bit too much. But then when you think about it, Seattle let go of everybody. So who are
Mhm.
they gonna pay? You gotta pay someone. So go ahead and, I guess, overpay for Sam Darnold right now, and you know, like,
Listen,
there's no one there. There's no one there's no one there, bro. Tyler Lockett is gone. DK Metcalf is gone.
I think you could also mention though that addition by subtraction thing. I think JSN is a star in this league.
Yes,
I think he's going to
yes,
get
but
a
you're not
great
winning with just
opportunity here.
him.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's why I was kind of confused, because I didn't think they needed to get rid of everyone. Like,
Mhm.
I think, man, oh, bro, they probably could have gone and got Kenny Pickett or someone like that, and try to build up a little bit more on the offense or offensive line, and just pretty much keep what they had. I thought they did a really good job last season. I didn't think that it meant that they needed to go into full rebuild.
Mhm.
Um, I'm interested in seeing what they do, but I agree with you. That's definitely an overpay.
Yeah, it's weird though because I don't think they're trying to like bottom out. I think you're signing a guy like Darnold to win, and obviously just signing Dexter Lawrence to trying to get pieces to find your way back. But I don't think you're signing these guys with the intention of not winning. Like I think they're trying to contend, and whether or not they get there, I don't think they will, right? But hey, they just got famed chief receiver Marquez Valdez Scantling. Can we not hype that move up, Derek?
They
Yeah,
did.
Seattle's cooked, bro. Seattle.
I'm sorry. I was trying not to laugh, but yeah, I got you. Bro, I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't know, bro. I hope they do better than what they look like they're gonna do. I don't think they're gonna do as well, but hopefully they do get a little bit past where they were last year. I just doubt it.
Yep. All I know is this move, the next move we get the pleasure of speaking about, is nowhere near as expensive, but I think it's arguably a much better quarterback move. We got Justin Fields, former Pittsburgh backup quarterback, signing with the New Jersey Jets. You love to fucking see it. Shout out Aaron Glenn and those boys, Gang Green.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sean. I know he's smiling ear to ear right now. This is a move which is about the now, but is also about the future. I think this was the Jets finally conceding to the fact that we're not going to win a Super Bowl this year, right, guys? Question mark. Um, they've thought they were in a position for the last four, and it's
Yeah.
actually very comical how far they have been in retrospect. I've caught the Kool-Aid a couple times, but not on that level. But every year these New Yorkers catch the Jersey fever, right? But it's okay. I think this year is being realistic, right? Let's grow with Justin Fields and let's put ourselves in a position to contend. I think they got young players at all of their impact positions on offense now. So let's figure this out together, guys. It doesn't have to work this year, but let's put the pieces together, find out what we really have in the backfield. Is Braylon Allen the guy, right? Or is it
Mhm.
the other way around with the higher draft pick, the bigger name in Brees Hall? What is the real dynamic of that running back room? Let's figure that out throughout the season. And I think with a coach like Aaron Glenn, he will be able to make those hard decisions as we go on. But this is a lateral move when you consider where they were, right? And I'm not saying him versus Aaron Rodgers, they're the same player, but as
Yeah.
far as the ceiling of where their acquisition brings your franchise, I think we're actually just exactly where we were, but being realistic about it with a bridge to the future. Is this a good way to look at it, Derek?
I would somewhat agree. I want to say though, it was definitely an addition by subtraction with moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Um, but getting Justin Fields, I feel like this is going to open up their offense a little bit more. Garrett Wilson really I don't feel like he and Aaron Rodgers really got on the same page at all. Um, the way, at least not the way they should have. I feel like that offense could have opened up a little bit more. So I think with a threat of a run from the quarterback position, I think that kind of helps out a lot for them right now. In today's league, you have to have a dual threat quarterback.
Mhm.
I feel like in order to contend, you need to have a dual threat quarterback because I don't see the teams that can't even threaten it. I don't like they're not you're not being moved by them on defense.
Are you shading the Lions right now? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm shading Aaron Rodgers.
He's in that mix too.
Yeah, I mean they can get a little bit of a little bit if the shoe fits. Let's just put it like that. If the shoe fits, but I do think that you have to have that threat, and I think this is just them moving toward a 2-year, 40 million. That's nothing crazy. So I mean, they could honestly draft another QB this year, which they should. I think they need to focus on the line majority of the time, though, for this draft. I think you focus on that offensive and defensive line.
Mhm.
I don't think they need to look at any other position in terms of need, but they should consider a QB in a draft and see if that's someone they can develop. But I think for right now, Justin Fields makes a lot of sense for them.
Yep, I agree with that. I also think if a guy like Shador Sanders potentially falls to them at that position, I would hate to see them draft him in the first round. I think you
Yeah.
try to get a swing as somebody in the later rounds and really address those positions of need, like you mentioned. Because even with a couple 1, 2, 3 dual threats, you ain't going nowhere without a goddamn line. So,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
was the big problem for them last season. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and fantasy owners too, right? I took that L. I'll be honest, it's okay. I took that Brees Hall L too. But
Yeah.
on a more serious note, we were talking about threats earlier. The Indianapolis Colts signed a motherfucking threat in Daniel Jones, right? We are looking at you, Anthony Richardson. Are you a potential A-Rod or not? Right? Are you going to lead this team to where we need to go to make the playoffs after being right there on the edge for the last 3, 4 years? Are you going to finally make it over the hump, or are we going to throw Danny Dimes out there and hope and pray? When I saw this move, especially with how much they paid him, um, it's clear they're paying the man to be a backup, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're paying that much to have this man be a backup, I hope you making some other splashes too, right? To help out Anthony Richardson. Because don't get me wrong, he hasn't done himself a lot of favors with some of the things he put out on tape last season specifically. But the team isn't doing him too many favors too, as far as putting him in the right position. So I
Yeah.
don't get this move personally. I get you need a backup quarterback, but why would you, in this position, move on from Joe Flacco? Do you think that Daniel Jones gives you much more of a chance than Joe Flacco did? Like he's already familiar with your offense,
Yeah.
familiar with your receivers. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. If you were going to move on from Joe Flacco as your backup, I almost feel like Jameis Winston makes more sense than Daniel Jones a little bit. Just because that arm is there, you can see it's still there. I don't know. Indianapolis is interesting to me because you could look at Anthony Richardson, but I feel like you can also look at the coaching staff as well. I almost feel like they just need a new voice there because they're not developing Anthony the way they should be. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. I personally don't get this move either. I would have. I don't know. I think if you were going to make this move, I think you trade Anthony Richardson and go get Sam Darnold or someone at that point. Like if you're going to do this, that's why that's why I'm confused with it, because I personally I don't see the point. Because
Yeah.
just like you said, Joe Flacco made more sense, but
This has to be just lighting a fire, right? That's the only thing that really makes sense, because
yeah,
it's worse than a lateral move, if you ask me. Like,
yeah,
it really is. So,
yeah,
hey, at least he's cheap though, right? We'll take it.
yeah,
But the QB carousel is still wide open, right? We still got Aaron Rodgers. We still got Russell Wilson. Jameis needs to be signed as well. But I think it speaks volumes to the lack of depth at this position when these are the guys, right, that we're looking to buoy our franchise with. So
yeah,
uh, time will tell with the quarterback position. But let's move on to a little more fun position to talk about, right? We had the big name splash, Devontae Adams going to the Los Angeles Rams. This also follows the big fallout, right? They released Cooper Kupp, which I still don't get that as well, right? That's another
yeah,
interesting conversation that we could have. But how do you like this signing for Matthew Stafford?
yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams. I think Devontae and Puka is going to be very interesting. Um, it's a bigger body, and I think more reliable in terms of health than Cooper Cup. But I wouldn't have moved on from Coop, bro. I think I personally feel like the Rams should have figured something out in that regard. Because if you could have gotten Puka, Devontae, and kept Coop, like moved Coop to the 3, that would have been interesting. Like that would have created another wrinkle that I think that would have given a lot of defenses problems with Matthew Stafford there. Like, yeah, come on, bro. Yeah, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot right there with that move. But I think Adams and Puka is going to be that's going to be a very nice duo to watch throughout the season. But man, Puka is one, right?
No,
Puka's your
no,
one, right?
no. They're
Right.
not doing that.
You're not.
You
Right
can't sign
now,
him for that much. I
huh?
agree that he's the one, but I'm a Puka dynasty owner right here, right? But
Yeah.
I think this is bad. I think this is bad news bears. It was terrible for Garrett Wilson when he landed over there in
Yeah.
Jersey. And I don't know if
Yeah.
that was an A-Rod problem,
I think
um,
so.
but I think no matter what, right, you find your number one guy, so to speak. At one point, that was Cooper Cup for Matthew Stafford, but
Hmm.
I just feel like if you're signing him for that much money, it's gonna be Devontae.
Man, it is money. It's some good money, but I'm not moving up from Puka as one, bro. I
Mhm.
think if you're using Devontae as a decoy to open Puka up a little more, and even the run game, I think that's pretty cool. But I I think what you said earlier makes more sense. I think that was an Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron Rodgers liked to force feed, and then that just messed up a ton of their offense throughout the season. So yeah, that's definitely why Garrett Wilson wasn't able to get anything on track this year. Um, it'll be interesting to see if that's what ends up happening here. If I'm betting on it though, I don't think that's going to be it. I think you're looking at Puka still being one.
Yeah, I think he's shown with how many receptions he's been getting in these first two seasons.
Yeah,
He can carry the team in that way, and such a weapon, right? But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it is interesting to see the way they have played Cooper Cup, even when he was healthy, in that dynamic. Like I feel like Devontae just steps right into that role, like you said, since he's leaving. I guess money wise, that was the issue, right? He was already upset and wanted to get paid, which I understand. But yeah, it's a weird one. I agree with you. It's definitely a loss here, even though you could argue it's a net gain, right? As far as the player you're getting in 2025. But I don't know, man. I still feel like at any point Devontae Adams could drop off and we won't be surprised, right? We were
no,
kind of waiting for that year for a couple years anyway. So
yeah, yeah. I
mhm.
almost felt like, and I'm okay with him going to Los Angeles, but I almost felt like he should have gone to Houston because of Tank Dell being out. He's going to be out for this season. He's not coming back this year. Um, he correct me if I'm wrong. He just got surgery on his knee, right? Like a week or two ago.
Even though it was a really bad injury, so that was
That's
part of the
wild
issue.
that the surgery just took place. So
Mhm.
yeah, he's not coming back this coming season. So I almost felt like it would have made sense for them to go out for Devontae at that point to, you know, pair with Christian Kirk or whatever. But I think it's a good move. I think it's a really good move.
Pair with Christian Kirk is hilarious. Don't forget
I
about my
mean,
guy Nico Collins. All right, that's the
yeah,
main guy
you know what I
there.
mean. I'm talking about in terms of offseason moves. In offseason moves, because like having those three there, I think
Yeah,
that would have been nice. That would have been a nice a trio right there. But
yeah.
no, I think him going to LA is pretty nice. That's gonna be good to see.
Yes, sir. I was looking at the board, and honestly, there's none of these I wanted to talk about besides the one you just mentioned. So why don't we get into that? The Texans were able to trade for Christian Kirk. As far as the placement, like you said, it makes sense. I think I'm a guy who's always been a late round fantasy believer in Christian Kirk.
Hmm.
I thought he got paid expeditiously last
Yes.
what was it last year? I thought that he wasn't really deserved of that contract. Kind of telling, right, that he ends up getting traded before
Hmm.
that contract fully bottoms out. But he's much more valuable in this spot for Houston. So I see why they got that move done. But I'm gonna be real, man. Especially with Stephon Diggs probably signing somewhere else. Um, I don't know if I like this Houston Texans offense moving forward, right? I think
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys who's just giving up now on why am I forgetting his name? My guy. Help me out here, brother. The quarterback of the Houston Texans. Why am I forgetting his name right now? This is terrible. CJ Stroud. Yes, baby. There we go. So
Bro,
I'm
I'm
not
laughing because I forgot too, man. It's late.
I knew I wasn't the only one though. I knew I was fishing in a very occupied pond, right? But my guy, CJ Stroud, I'm not
Yeah.
the one. I didn't give up on him, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who gave up on him after last season. I think they need to fix their line, right? This should
Yeah.
also be looked at as sort of a bridge year in the same vein as the Jets, right? Like
Yes.
let's move forward in a way that gets us to contending next year. I think almost like the Rams did this year, right? Let's make some right moves and put ourselves in a better position. So
Because
interested
the
to see how
Rams
that one
really
plays
shouldn't
out.
have been as far as they got, truth be told.
You think so?
In terms of how the season started,
Yeah.
it it did not look that they were going to be getting that far. So I agree with
Mhm.
you. Like the Texans could have done something very similar in terms of preparation for next season, because this coming season could have been like we kind of like overplay expectations
Mhm.
with the injuries.
As
So
we get healthy, right, to come back
yeah,
and do
they
our
can get
thing.
back
Yeah,
in. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
So shout out to the Rams. I think they're good. If you're modeling yourselves after their success, that's a good spot to be in. But I think I like D'Amico Ryans. I like everything about that team except for the team, right? Let's figure
yeah,
this out, guys. Let's figure this out,
yeah.
especially with those receivers. Um, But we got some dominoes that fell in the running back room as well. The biggest, which is hilarious, of guys moving. We got Najee Harris signing with the Chargers. I think he's a 1B in this
Yes.
equation, right? He is not a 1A.
Yeah.
But I like the move, having the lightning and the thunder, right? I think it sucks to see Gus Edwards get phased out of this role. I think he's going to end up getting signed somewhere as well. But how do you feel about this restockpiling of assets for the Chargers?
I mean, the Chargers, honestly, I feel like this offseason, one of the things that because we saw with them last year, they did they looked improved, but I think they're kind of similar to how I view the Jets in terms of you need to build the line because that offensive line, just Justin Herbert, I feel like we need to like people start needing to have a conversation. We've talked about this already, like beginning of the season, but I feel like Justin Herbert is in that category of this is a prove it year, right? Like you're on the hot seat if things don't get done here, right? So, I mean, Najee Harris is going to be a nice addition to the team, but to me, they need to just be focused on the offensive line.
Yeah. We could say that about, I could say like 24 teams.
I
in the
know,
NFL.
I know, but that's what their focus needs to be because I think like going out just to get free agency splash, like that doesn't make sense if you're not protecting your QB. It doesn't do anything. But then your QB has to play better.
Mhm.
Like he just has to be better. And I think like this idea that Justin Herbert is in the top tier of QBs, like that whole conversation is annoying the hell out of me.
Hmm.
It's really annoying because I've been seeing people giving him the credit that he does not deserve. I feel like honestly, this is the year they need to go ahead and I don't even know who his backup is right now, but they need to find someone as a replacement because in current position that they're in, to me, this is the last year. Like it's either this is it,
Oh, I couldn't disagree with you more. I love you, Derrick. This is crazy. This is
you do
crazy talk right
something
now.
now, or you need to move on.
Wow.
Because I feel like we're making such a big deal about Justin Herbert, and I feel like he gets the type of passes, no pun intended, but I feel like he gets certain passes that you don't even make concessions for certain top players, right? I feel like he's getting these type of arguments made for him as if he's made it to a conference championship. You know what I'm saying? Like you've not even like you've got to get into the playoffs and play deep into the playoffs. He has not done that yet.
Yep.
So like that's my point. He's like that like Dak Prescott to me a little bit. Like you have nice stats and play well during the season type thing, but like when it gets toward the end of the season, going to the playoffs, where'd you go? He's a nice fantasy QB. He's a nice fantasy QB,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I just feel like this is a prove it year, bro. I feel like this is a prove it year because he's got to do better. He's
Yeah.
got to do better. And because if people are making as big of an argument against Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen the way that they are, like if that's the standard you're going to hold Justin Herbert to, I feel like the standard needs to be raised a little bit because we're giving certain players this leash of like, hey, like you got unprecedented amount of time to figure XYZ out, but they're not figuring it out. They're not adding to their game type thing. But these players have. We've seen Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. We've seen those guys add to their game, and I don't feel like Justin Herbert has added to his game over the last couple of years. And I'm sorry, I feel like
Love
this is going into a
I
rant.
love
I'm
this.
not
No,
trying to
I
get
love
there,
this.
but he's got to do better. For the Chargers to do better, he has to do better.
I love that you laid it out that way because I personally have felt like he's been failed, right, by a lot of the guys around him,
Yeah,
not just on his position team, right, not just
yeah,
on the offensive side, particularly on the defensive side of the ball,
yes,
right,
yes.
which makes sense why they structured things the way they have. I think so far I like some of the moves they've made, but like you said, it's a lot of lateral moves. It's a lot of recovery moves, right? You lose
Yes.
this guy, so you get this guy.
Hmm.
Getting Mike Williams is a familiar face. My guy Glass, shout out to Lewis, Glass Williams. But it's good to see him back, but he's going to be what, like a fourth option there, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're not really putting that guy in a position to make changes, like you said.
yeah.
But as far as talent, right, this is how I feel about this. That motherfucker is cold, right? For you to be talking about this in this way, I disagree.
Hmm.
But I also acknowledge that no doubt in my mind, Justin Herbert is a top 10 QB in the league right now.
Mhm.
But that also speaks to, which is something I agree with that you said, right? That we need to raise the floor of this position, period. It
Yeah.
isn't just about him, because if we live in a world where a top 10 QB is a guy like Justin Herbert, then, like you said, the ceiling's coming down, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yeah. And that's my whole thing, because I feel like the conversation is only centered around their stats, right? And I don't feel like he's a player that, if you need to go win the game, that's who you can
I
depend on.
couldn't disagree with you more,
Right,
man.
like late
I
into the
remember games,
season, going
bro.
into the
Regular
playoffs,
season games
regular
is
season
one
games, yeah,
thing,
but I'm talking
but
about like like there's a difference when you're talking about late in the season, because you see when you're talking about the November December games, you're rounding out into January, you're seeing our guys, you see them pick it up. They're doing something else that's kind of like okay, all right, he's kicking into another gear. Because you should, like, the further you get into the season, it should be a higher gear. I feel like Justin Herbert starts off the season, it's almost how we were talking about Josh Allen. You remember how a year or two ago, Josh Allen had the reputation of starting off well, and then midway through the season, it's a fumble. Then he picked it back up and then fumbled in the playoffs, right? I feel like this season he was consistent all year long. All year long he was consistent. And I felt like the later it got into the season, oh, he's kicking into another gear. He's kicking into another gear. Cool. You saw that from Josh Allen. You saw that from Lamar. You saw that from Jalen Hurts. And I feel like if you're trying to get into the NFC AFC championship game, you're trying to get into the Super Bowl, you have no choice but to kick it into another gear going into the playoffs. And Justin Herbert, he lowers his gear, bro. He just, like, he gets there and then it's like, he starts stalling out.
yeah, that game against Houston was horrible.
That was
Horrible.
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 That was horrible.
Way worse than Sam Darnold's last game.
Yes.
Way
So
worse. Yeah.
so that's my point. I feel like he's a good regular season QB, but you've got to get to a point where you're able to kick it into another gear and lead your team the way you lead your team. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen, like, especially with this year, you saw how Jalen Hurts, he didn't have the gaudy stats throughout the year, right? But as the season progressed, you saw, okay, he's adding a little bit to his game, adding a little bit to his game. Oh, okay, cool. Get into the playoffs now. Now, when he's in the playoffs, he's playing his best games.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to downshift. You need to kick it into a higher gear.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like Herbert kind of falls off.
Mhm.
That's where he falls off. So I think this offseason, the Chargers need to look at what they can do to protect him. So there's no excuse. Okay, you got your protection. You've got your receivers. You got your running game. What is it you're going to be able to do to lead us forward? And if they can't go forward with him going into the playoffs, bro, I swear on everything. If the last 6 games he's not picking it up he's not kicking into a higher gear, I'm writing him off. I'm
Mhm.
writing him off, because you cannot continue to consider this guy as a top 10 QB and mentioning him above a Jalen Hurts or in the same breath as a Josh Allen. You
Mhm.
can't do that, and this is what he does.
Yeah.
You just
I
can't do that.
agree. I agree with you in that vein. Like, in general, there's a certain standard that needs to be set in order for you to be looked at as a contender, right? And I
Yes,
think the
yes,
talk is as if this team is always a contender, right?
yes,
And that's the problem.
yes. That's the
100%.
problem. Yes,
Um,
yes.
I think, as far as, though, the Josh Allen comparison specifically, I think what really makes that comparison viable, for me at least, as far as their games, is they are that guy that you almost have to save for themselves. Like, they save from themselves. Like,
Mhm.
they are that guy that's going to do whatever they have to do to make it work to put their team on their back for that moment, even if sometimes you might not advise it, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like similarly in that same vein, Josh Allen had to learn in what ways he was going to do that, right? It wasn't going to be running straight at guys like he was doing a couple of years ago, this last
Mhm.
couple of years, right? It's a
Mhm.
different approach,
Mhm.
but he still gets that crazy out. As
Yeah.
far as like leader of men, as far as like this is what you want from a QB, I feel like you cannot like I feel like Herbert is that guy, man. 100%. Like I feel like guys are rallying around him. I don't think he's ever lost the locker room. I just
Yeah.
really feel like you said, that level needs to be raised by everyone in order to be looked at in that way.
Yeah.
But you could argue, man, 100%. I think there's just a different kind of reflection that comes with that complexion, Derek. Can we agree
Yes.
about that? Yeah.
Yes. Wholeheartedly, bro. Wholeheartedly. Like I think Joe Burrow is an amazing QB. I think he's an amazing QB. But if you're not protecting him,
Yeah. What we
there's
gonna
only
do?
so much he
Yeah.
can do. I feel like he's doing more with less. Justin Herbert is not doing. He's doing less with more,
Yeah. And I
and
think
that
that's why we love the signing of their head coach, my guy, Mr.
yes,
Jimbo,
yes,
because
yes,
this is
yes,
the guy that's going to bring you guys in that direction, right? I already
yeah.
did it with drafting Alt, and I'm sure they're going to keep on bolstering those positions. So
Which
I wouldn't bet against the Chargers. That's my hot take, right? You went on a couple rants already,
okay,
Derek. You ready to
okay,
fucking go out? I wouldn't bet against the Chargers. How about that?
okay. I'm betting wholeheartedly against them right now.
Let's go. Let's go. We will come back to this at some point. I fucking
Yes,
love it,
sir.
Derek. But yeah, I think as far as making moves to put them in a position we're talking about, they have not done that so far. But
Yeah,
re-signing like Khalil Mack is good.
yeah,
Getting a little splash like Najee Harris can't help. But we shall see what comes from this. But I think this is a net positive as far as where they're at. But they still obviously need to address a lot of different positions. Now,
yes, definitely.
let's get over to the defensive. Oh, no, wait. There's one more running back I needed to talk to you about, Derek. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. This is one of the biggest free agency signings I've ever seen, right? This is a free agency signing that's been 2 years in the making, right? We've been
Yeah,
waiting for the
yeah.
Dallas Cowboys to go out there and get themselves a running back, and God damn it, they did it. They got themselves Javonte Williams. Hold on, wait, Derek. Who?
Okay, bro.
Who? The man that Bo Nix made. Did you sign the man that Bo Nix made? Man,
Bro,
bro, I can't believe this. This is in real life, right?
I can believe it. You know why? Jerry Jones came out, I want to say like a week or two ago, and said that something to the effect of like they're not looking to make any big moves in free agency. It's like what like you're doing everything against what you should be doing. And you know what? I'm here for it.
Yep.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You let Rico Dowdle go and like I
Hey,
mean
put some respect. It's Frico. All right, it's Frico.
Freako, my
There
bad.
we go.
Like cool. That's cool. Zeke is gone. They let him go to the Chargers, and it's just there's nothing that the Cowboys can do at this point.
Hmm.
They're done, bro.
Yeah, they're
They're,
done, bro.
they're
They need
done.
a full bottom out.
They're done.
Yeah.
And I can see it in CD Lamb's eyes, bro. That man want to leave, man. That boy,
You know it's bad when he on stream with Neon. God damn it, he going through it, right?
that man is done. Like the way he reacted to DaMarcus Lawrence signing to Seattle was like it was pain, but
Hmm.
it was almost like, yeah, I know, I get it. Like
I feel you, bro.
I feel you on that one, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time before he's gone too.
Hmm. And I think this is a perfect segue for our side note, Derek, because we got some beef. We got some Twitter beef, Derek. We got some beef that needs to be addressed. So the guy we just was speaking about, Dexter Lawrence, went and left the Cowboys, signing for the Seattle Seahawks. And there was a very interesting exchange that went down. Of course, you love to see this. There was an interview with DaMarcus Lawrence. I don't know how I said that. He says that Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. And this is in an interview, right? This is not, it is word for word, calm as hell, looking the reporter in the eyes. I know damn well I was not going to win a Super Bowl there. And Micah Parsons had something to say, former teammate of one DaMarcus Lawrence. It hurt, right? It hit close to home. And he said, this is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown shit with the clown emoji. And nothing made Micah Parsons sound more like a jealous ex than this tweet, right? This some
Yeah.
clown shit with the clown emoji. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And then DaMarcus Lawrence with the best comeback that we could possibly see, right? The best. I was so happy when you sent me this, bro, because the timing of this is legendary. My man says, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spend less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left with the demon smirk emoji, right? You love to hear the translation of the emojis, right? Because it really hits home the points
Yes.
here, Derrick.
Yes.
I just gotta say, as two people that are chronically online for the sake of these conversations, it's kind of hard to knock Micah Parsons for doing what he does, right? Because
Yeah.
we are a part of this world, very much so.
Yeah.
But I feel you on this one, DaMarcus Lawrence. Like, if you are a cowboy, right? I can't have you saying all this outlandish shit, Micah, when we playing the way we playing, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that it came out this way, I think is pretty funny. Obviously, that Seattle Cowboys next meetup is going to be circled on the calendar for both of these guys. But this shit is funny to me because you wrong, but goddamn it, you right. You right, DaMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. The way Micah's been talking lately, I get it, right? Like, this is your team and you're doing your best to I guess to defend your team. I get it. But boy, that man ain't going nowhere, bro. They're not winning a championship in Dallas. DeMarcus is completely correct about that. They have no shot. They have no chance in hell, bro. Isn't this like the 30-year mark for them not being able to get to a Super Bowl since they won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, my dad would know for sure. So I
And
gotta
and
ask.
they haven't done anything to help themselves. Like, DeMarcus isn't
Hey,
wrong.
they signed Javante Williams. Did
Javante,
you forget? We
bro,
were just talking about that.
bro, come on. That's exactly they needed. Let me ask you this because I had this theory. I've been thinking about this for the last week. And I've been waiting to get on here to talk to you about this, okay? Any current athlete with a podcast, I feel like does not win. The only caveat that I've seen is Darius Slay with the Eagles last season. Has any other player won a championship with a podcast?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind
Any
was
athlete?
Demetrius Johnson, right? Shout out to Mighty Mouse.
Okay, okay, okay.
One of the goats in the
Yeah,
MMA world has had a online show for the greater part of like 5 years now, and has been a reigning champ during that time too. So that's the first thing that came to my mind. But as far as actual
team
NFL and
sport.
NBA players, yeah, no, 100%, I
Team sport.
agree.
Because you see what happened with Paul George.
Podcast, that's not Paul George, right? Let's
Podcast
get it
P.
straight. Yeah, yeah.
Podcast P is coming back, man. That man is good. That man gonna be sidelined for the rest of the year. Like, he hasn't won anything. Micah Parsons, I feel like he's making things worse. St. Brown, like all these guys have shows. Draymond Green, right? I don't know. I feel like Darius Slay is almost like a caveat, right? Because I don't feel like he's this team. That team was just so dominant that there was no way they weren't winning the championship. But wait, hold on. Travis Kelsey won one last year. So yeah,
But did it start in the midst of that? I
they
don't think
started.
it
They started.
did.
They started. They started that one going into that season.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Darius Slay is the second athlete with a podcast to win a championship.
You could argue Micah Parsons has the most success of all these guys we mentioned as far as his actual show, right? The guys that the face of
Current
Bleacher
players.
Report. Yeah.
I almost feel like Draymond's is a little more successful.
That's a good shout too, but
Yeah, I almost feel like his is
Draymond's a
more
cornball.
successful.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're not the same level of player as well. I think that's a good
yeah,
point.
nah, Draymond is.
I didn't even know Slay had a podcast either. So shout.
Yeah, yeah, because we found out the hard way as fans, but that man went out and just he just went out. He went out, bro. Last year was horrible. I wish he didn't do what he did, but he's a second athlete with a podcast to win a championship.
I gotta say the funniest shit though, real quick. You were ahead of the curve on Bradbury's demise and Slay's demise. Like as soon as you started bitching about them, it was over for their NFL careers. I mean, obviously Slay just got sent to the
Miles Sanders
Steelers,
too.
but yeah, Miles Sanders too. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the guy's ahead of the curve. He knows what he's watching, ladies and gentlemen.
Bro, I feel like the and I hate calling them podcasts because I feel like this is a show. This is real stuff. But I don't think any current player and current athlete should have a show.
I might agree with that. Right, you got too much to focus on. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Well, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, they have a show together as well.
Oh yeah, we'll see how that one goes
We'll
this
see how
year.
that goes, but so far they have not won.
I don't think
but
I'm seeing that in my lifetime either, right? Shout out to the Knicks, but
nah, yeah, I don't. That's not happening. But yeah, I feel like I feel like teams that are athletes that win. I think you have to. I think it's for team sports because, like you said, Demetrius has had one for a while and he's won. He's won. So I feel almost like it's weird. It's almost like it's team sports that you can't have a show. You can't have a podcast.
yeah.
If you're
Another
gonna win.
name that came to in my head of MMA, Sean O'Malley too. Sean
Yeah.
O'Malley's another guy. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's just a team sport curse. Goddamn.
The team sport one. Yeah. This is the new Madden curse, bro.
Yeah. The podcast curse. Well,
Yeah.
the podcast purge. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, good luck to DaMarcus Lawrence. I think he's in a better space anyway. Like Dallas wasn't doing anything, so
yeah. Dallas is going to continue to not do anything. So
yeah.
that's a perfect segue to what's going to get us out of here, Derrick. We got our last of the headlines, best available free agents to discuss. And let's start with the quarterback position because you and I vehemently disagree on who that guy is. And I'm going to make my case first. I'm not even going to give you the chance, Derrick.
Please.
This is my time.
Please.
So we got Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Joe Flacco being the best of who are available. And I'm going to say with my chest that I believe the best available guy here for any team is Aaron Rodgers, right? There's a big spectacle that comes with this man and everything that he believes in, right? But I think there was a big stinky cloud around him in New Jersey as well, right? You smell it as soon as you cross that bridge, right? You smell the very distinct air in Jersey. So he had to deal with that as well. But even that, he was able to overcome. I was about to say he was able to overcome, throw more than 25 touchdowns on the season, despite coming off of a really bad Achilles injury the year before. Right? We love that meme. Shout out to the flag. Let's fucking run out there and make it happen. I can't believe that was a whole season ago, right? That's kind of crazy. The way memory works.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But the reason why I feel this way is just more so betting against the other guys. Like I don't think Russell Wilson is that guy. I've got to see him a lot now, especially playing for the Steelers on the back end of that run. I don't know, man. I just think all of these guys are pretty bad, and we discussed that earlier, right? That this is the best of what's available, and goddamn it, is pretty tragic. Yeah. But I think Aaron Rodgers still has the most gas left in the tank out of all these guys, despite the fact that every season it's in question if he's going to play again or not. So tell me why I'm wrong, Derrick. Tell me why it's someone else.
You're wrong because like what we talked about earlier, bro. Like Russell Wilson isn't the dual quarterback that he used to be. He can run faster than Aaron Rodgers though right now. And I feel like having the threat of a jog, let's just say that, like the jog out of the backfield, I think it's a little bit better coming from Russell Wilson than it is from Aaron Rodgers. I also feel like Wilson has the better ability to not make it about him. And Aaron Rodgers for the last year and a half, no, I'm sorry, for the last 3 to 4 years, I mean, his whole career has been about him, but for the last 3 or 4 years, it's really bumped the team. It's about me, right? And this is when he was still in Green Bay. This is after he ruptured his Achilles. The whole time his rehab, it was about him. And then going into this past season, it was about him and all. It's a spectacle that I don't believe needs to be there. And I feel like Wilson brings a dynamic to the team that's just better. To me, I almost feel like the Colts should make a run at him. Like that was the move they should have made instead of signing who they signed?
Danny Dimes, baby,
Danny
Daniel
Dimes. Thank
Jones.
you. Yeah, instead of
Yeah,
signing him,
I agree with
Russell
that.
Wilson would have been a better option. Um, I don't even know what team could sign these guys outside of Cleveland.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor people need to recognize when you're signing Russell Wilson is you can no longer play future. Like that's a big problem in a lot of
Yeah.
locker rooms, I would imagine. So it's tough.
Hey man, then just play Drake or someone. Play whoever is against the future. Yeah, you'll be fine. Look, it to me it would. I feel like Tennessee might be a good option. New Orleans, because I'm not really sold on Derek Carr right now. So New Orleans, but Miami is a big get too, and then obviously Cleveland. But Miami might actually make a lot of sense.
Nah, there's no way that they're signing Tua and righty Tua, right? There's no way that's happening, right?
Who's his backup?
They
There's
just
not.
signed someone. What's his name?
Let me see.
They just literally today. I think it
Oh,
was
Zach
today.
Wilson. Yeah, you trust
Yes,
Zach Wilson, bro?
the MILF hunter, the
You,
Cougar Slayer. Yes, I remember.
you trust Zach
Hey,
Wilson?
wait, no, you know why I do? Because this is the Sam Darnold run we've been waiting on, right?
Okay. Okay.
This is the Tua goes out week 3
Uh-huh.
with we know what. We don't have to talk about it, right? We don't want to put it
Okay.
out there, right? God bless. We don't want any of these injuries, but Tua goes out week 3. And the Cougar Hunter is out there just fucking dying to my guy, Tyreek Hill, right? At that point, he's playing for the mothers while
Yeah.
my guy's playing for the kids. Like this is real right here. I think, hey, I believe in Zach Wilson in this spot. How about that?
I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't, bro. I don't know. So he was Bo Nix's backup last year, right?
Yep. It's like Chernobyl. Like the further away you get from those Jersey
Yeah.
waters,
Yeah.
the better things become for your career.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like there are options. I feel like there are options, but Cleveland would be a good one. But to me, yeah, Russell Wilson is the best available free agent QB.
I love it. We're
He
gonna
he
leave
played
that
further
argument
than he
there.
played further than Aaron Rodgers did last year, didn't he?
Very true, but he also did not have the same stats that Aaron Rodgers did, but that's okay.
He
That's
didn't.
okay. Yeah.
He didn't. I just feel like he's more reliable.
As far as reliability, though, I agree with you on that side. But
Yeah.
as far as the actual player when they're on the field, I'm going with
Aaron Rodgers,
Ron.
Rodgers is overrated at this point, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it,
I
man.
don't think I think he is appropriately rated, but I think he is because of how far he has fallen. It's easy to overlook where he is rated now. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. Okay. I
All
feel you.
right, let's move on to a position that's even worse. We'll keep this short and sweet. The best available running back at this point is J.K. Dobbins after Aaron Jones re-signed with Minnesota. So J.K. Dobbins, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Gus Edwards, Miles Sanders, and Kyle Juszczyk. In parentheses, we got a fullback, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
available running backs
Yeah.
as we speak, and yeah, it's J.K. all day.
I mean, Nick Chubb healthy. I mean, that's asterisk. I get it, but Nick
Mhm.
Chubb healthy,
Yeah, nobody's fucking with Nick Chubb healthy on this list.
bro. I I'd be interested to see where he goes. Any team he goes to though needs to have a strong line. He can't go to any
Mhm.
team that has a weak line because that's it for him if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to go to a strong line. So what teams are out there like that? The Rams would be interesting. Could you
Good
see him going
shout.
to Los
Nice,
Angeles?
nice little 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm so high on the kid in LA. What is his name? Look, we some old motherfuckers, man. We're some old pieces of shit because I love
Bro,
these
we
guys,
aged since the
bro.
last episode. That's crazy.
For real, bro. We are Unk official
Oh yeah, no,
trademark.
for
Get me the
sure.
marks. It's over. It's
For
over,
sure,
ladies
man.
and
I gotta go
gentlemen.
get my Crocs now.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Crocs. I own a pair of Buzz Lightyear Crocs, right? They say Andy
Word?
on the inside. I love it, bro. It says
Oh,
Andy on
man.
the inside. I got the Croc gems that they light up when I walk and shit. Come on,
Oh,
bro.
man.
This is full. You got to feed into the childhood, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, let's move on to positions that actually matter. Good luck with the signing a running back if you need one, but you don't need to because there's a bunch of them coming in the draft. So that's what you
Yeah.
got to look
Oh, yeah.
forward to at this point.
Yeah.
Available wide receivers. Now, this one is an interesting argument because I'm going to give you
Mm,
a top five and I'm going to let you rank them, right? You get the priority here, Derrick. We got Deontay Johnson,
mhm.
Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, and Amari Cooper. How would you rate those five wide receivers as far as best available?
Man, I think going into the next season, Stefan Diggs, if he were fully healthy, I mean, he's still gonna be recovering. So I don't even think like you can sign him right now and feel like he's gonna be there day one. Um, he is the best one available, but I almost gotta put him to the side because I can't even consider him in that availability right now. So I would actually say sneaky Keenan Allen is probably the best one.
Wow.
I would sneaky because
Wow. That's crazy.
depending on the QB, depending on the QB, and the other receivers that would be on that field, Keenan Allen would be a sneaky, really best available. But Amari is going to be the best one, hands down, right now because of his health, age, and availability. I would have to say Amari, Keenan, Stefan Diggs.
He said this shit don't even deserve a top five. We
I
giving
don't.
him a
Yeah, I
top
can't.
three.
I can't. I can't.
I fucking
Cooper
love it.
Cup. No, Cooper Cup. Let me put some respect on his name. Cooper Cup is above Stefan Diggs right now because of availability. But
Okay, so you got it. Amari Cooper, Stephon, Cooper Cup, and then Keenan Allen. Am I reading
I'll
this wrong?
switch it around. Yeah, I'll switch it around. Cooper Cup and Keenan Allen. But yeah, let me put it right there because I think Cooper's impact is going to depend on what team he goes to as well.
I
Nah,
agree.
man. Put yeah. Actually, no, because let me put him two. All right.
Yeah,
So Amari, Coop, Keenan, Stefan Diggs.
that's fair.
I'll
That's
do that.
fair. I think I'll go Stephon over Keenan Allen, but I like the enthusiasm. I fuck with Keenan Allen, man.
Bro, Keenan, you
Hey,
saw
Mike Williams just got signed
that's
back.
what
I'm just saying. I'm just
bro,
saying.
it would
Why
make a
not?
ton of sense, man. It'd make a ton of sense. I'm willing to bet he's about to go to the Kansas City Chiefs, though.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Keenan
Ooh,
Allen, I
I
think
would
he wants
love
that
that.
too.
Yeah, man. Especially because we don't know what's gonna happen with Rasheed Rice coming off of his injury, and
And you
also,
just lost D Hop.
yeah, but he was never even there. Like, let's be real,
I
he was
know,
there
I
for
know, I
like
know.
2 games, bro.
You just lost D Hop
Re-signed
nonetheless.
Hollywood though, right? Waited for him to come back from his injury and then
Yeah,
re-signed him. I think I love that.
yeah. I mean, they're gonna need. So they just lost their center, right?
Yes.
Thune.
And I think that was very intentional.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. Well, we made that man look horrible in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got a pretty decent pick for him too. Shout out to
Yeah, I
Chicago.
was shocked by that too. But
Shout out to Chicago making it work.
but they're gonna need some good protection for Mahomes moving forward. So I mean, that's gonna be another bro. What are your predictions for the Chiefs? I know we're about to call this. We're about to end it. But
Yes.
before we leave, what are your predictions for the Chiefs this year?
Well, I think there's no doubt in my mind that they still look at themselves as a contender, right? So I think I like their tight end room, right? It's not something you hear every day.
Hmm.
Yeah, they definitely need to shore up the offensive line, like we said, but I don't think they're far away. I think they need to get a better second RB, in my opinion. I think that's a good shout.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're far away. I think you're never that far away with those guys, right? But I know you're tired
Yeah,
of hearing that shit too.
I mean I am, but I mean, look, you just signed Gardner Minshew. Obviously, Wentz is gone, right?
Mhm. Came and went.
Yeah, he yeah, he can't win. I think it's going to be interesting, but based on what we saw, because honestly, I didn't believe they should have gotten past y'all. Right? I don't. I told you from the beginning of the season I thought the Ravens and Bills were the best teams in the AFC. The Chiefs just they just I don't know, man. They shouldn't have been there though. They shouldn't have
Yeah.
been there. I
Yeah.
thought they
I'm not
played.
picking them to go to the Super Bowl next season. I'll tell you that.
I'm not. I think they played way above where they were this year. So they need to work on the offensive line, in my opinion. They need to work on the offensive line heavily,
Yeah. I
especially
think they're
with
good. I think it'll be good for them to not be looked at as the consensus number one team. I think
yes,
there's no way they're going to be looked at that way, even
yeah,
with the losses to you guys this season.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
So
hey, there's a couple teams ahead of them on our side of the bracket. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Look, they shouldn't have gone past anyone. Honestly, I didn't think they were that good of a team. So,
mhm.
um, I think they got a lot of work they need to do this offseason. You got
Yeah,
Travis Kelce coming back for another year. Let's see what happens with him. But I don't see them getting. I don't think they're going to get past the Bills or the Ravens this coming season.
great shout. There's a lot of other guys we could talk about, but ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of time. So I'll ask you two last questions before we get out of here. The first one, we just got wind, right? Well, it wasn't just now, but we came to grips with the reality
Hmm.
that Joey Bosa has signed with the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Given the tendencies of Bills Mafia, I think they will get along very, very, very swimmingly. But with that domino falling, there's another position that opens up. As always, what team do you think Von Miller ends up on?
Bro, if he wasn't so expensive, I would have said just try him out in Philly for 1 year. But that's not happening. I don't know. I don't know. Because it's not like okay, hear me out on this one. It's he played well last year, but do you see him signing with the team this year, this offseason? When
I
you're
think
when
I
you
think they'll be stupid if they didn't. I think there's a couple different teams that could benefit from having him. But as
Yes.
far as what you're getting back, yeah,
Yes.
that's the question.
That's my point. I don't
Mhm.
I don't I don't know. Um, for the price, I don't know if it makes sense for contenders. I think it'll
Mhm.
make sense for teams that aren't really going to contend well this year. But a dark horse, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver got him back.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good shout. Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
think
be shocked if they got
Denver's a
him.
great. Yeah, Denver's a great shout.
Yeah,
Um, I know they just signed Josh Sweat, so it sounds kind of stupid, but I would love to see him end up in Arizona. I think
yeah,
they could figure out a lot and learn a lot
yeah,
together.
yes. Especially if he
But
doesn't have to
do I
play.
want that for him? Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't have to
Yeah,
play a lot, etc. But do I want that for him? Not really, right? Not really.
yeah.
I just can't get the look of your favorite former defensive coordinator's face, Jonathan Gannon, out of my head. Like every time, I'm sorry, he's a fucking goofy, right? Can we say it like it is? The man's a goofy.
Bro, there are a few people I can literally sit here and say that I actually hate. It's Trump, Elon Musk, and Gannon.
No, that's crazy. That's a crazy top three, bro. I wasn't ready.
I hate all of them, bro. Those, oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna sit here with a straight face and ask you where you thought Rasul Douglas was going. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the motherfucking show. Thank you so much for locking in, as always, with OTS and of course the sideline guys. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
sticking around. Thank you for showing up. We had a huge showing in our last episode covering UFC 313. So keep showing the love. Thank you so much for the appreciation, and we're gonna keep bringing the heavy hitters your way, especially when Derrick's involved. You already know it's a motherfucking classic. So, once again, make sure you're following the brand OTS Media Co. on all social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. Buy yourself some shroom bars, eat some shroom bars, and we'll see you all next week. Peace.